love jazz? You're going to love our next segment. We have the Jazz Lovers Club here today, Dr. Diane Lukic and our special guest, Elena Gilliam, who's going to be performing. We're going to talk about that performance in just a second. But first, Diane, I want to talk about the Jazz Lovers Club in general. What's it all about? What do you guys do? The name tells a lot. I know that.
Well, several months ago, my husband and I, who are both jazz lovers, had a hard time finding venues and other jazz lovers to do things with. So I said, let's start a club. And we just thought we'd gather a few people together, and we were astounded at how many jazz lovers there were here. And so it's been evolving ever since, kind of letting it go with the flow. And then one of our members had suggested that we have Elena come for a special concert because she's very talented. And we were so excited about that. But mostly, we're excited about sharing our love of jazz through entertainment and education here in Laguna Woods and local venues.
Well, speaking of entertainment, Elena Gilliam, you're going to be entertaining a lot of folks with, well, jazz is one of these original, all-American, or it started here in the United States in the South, and it's really an American kind of commodity. And how long have you been enjoying jazz, listening to jazz, and performing?
Well, I think the length of time that I've been performing and the length of time that I've loved jazz coincides. So I don't know. I've loved music all my life.
Did you grow up listening to a lot of various stuff in the house? No? Okay.
No. We had one of those houses where we had some great albums, but we didn't really listen to music a lot. I have very hardworking parents and kind of a typical middle class, what we used to call middle class family. Working hard all the time, going to school, working hard. What are you going to do with your life? So we didn't really listen to a whole lot of music, but I know my parents love music, and I love music just from watching movies and television shows, variety shows. I knew that I loved it. So my love of music was early on, but then late teens, I started to really enjoy jazz as I knew it. Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, the singers of jazz, Morgana King, Lena Horne. I started really enjoying them. Wow, I think that's maybe, should I go down that road? So I love that.
And here you are. Well, you got a show. You've gone down that road. You got their show coming up. So I want to talk about that real quick. Sunday, March 24th, 4:30 to 6 p.m. And it's going to be at Laguna Woods Clubhouse 5. Doors open at 4 p.m. Diane, what was it like putting the show together and getting Elena here?
Oh, it's been so much fun. I loved learning about Elena because she's an all-around humanitarian. She's such a beautiful soul. In addition to the singing, she is just phenomenal, and her husband as well is a musician. So the best part was putting together the details of this and listening to her music. So I've just enjoyed every second of getting to know Elena more.
Oh, that's sweet.
More in addition to her music, her life itself.
Well, you know, we don't have to take your word for it. I think we have a clip. So let's see if we can play that clip and take a listen for all of us to see Elena in action.
Oh, that's sweet.
Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mom is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you?
Well, there you go. The proof is in the pudding. Elena, who do you think you maybe were inspired most by or tried to style yourself after? I know you're not going to say you're copying anybody, but do you sing in a certain vein?
I am Ella Fitzgerald is my number one.
You can't go wrong there.
God, love her. But Ella and Sarah, those are probably the two singers that I love the most. I love Carmen McRae too. There's so many vocalists that I love. It's just hard to pinpoint it. But Ella really stands out in my head because I just admired her and loved her style.
And you know, the
Just
styles, Diane, are so varied in the world of jazz. And you have folk, just absolute instrumentals, people doing experimental stuff, and then you have the Ella Fitzgeralds and the Sarah Vaughan singers and that kind of thing. What do you think is so appealing to folks who love the entire range of jazz? What is it that appeals to you about it?
Oh, all of the above, but most of all, it's the connecting factor. I think jazz is very healing. And when you're sitting in the audience listening to jazz, the whole audience is united together. It feels very, unity is the only way. And I think that's what we need in our society, is connecting, but in a beautiful, fun way through music. Just love being you're into the flow of the moment.
Yeah.
And Linda, does jazz speak to you in a way that other music maybe didn't, or or you just somehow found a niche in your heart?
Yeah, oh, definitely. It just felt natural to me. And I was telling Diane, at first I thought maybe I was born at the wrong time, in the wrong part of the century. But then I thought, no, because I'm standing on their shoulders. And what they did at the beginning of jazz in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, what they did is they gave me a platform to be on. That's phenomenal. And they went through a whole lot of other issues when they were going down the road of jazz that I never had to deal with. So I just really feel natural with jazz. And I've tried some other styles too. I first started with some pop, a little bit of pop, R&B.
You found your way back.
But yeah, but
Well, jazz is
it.
that experimental. I mean, experimental word, you bring in other genres, other things to see how they work within the fusion of all that.
There's so many different types of jazz,
Right.
and people sometimes would come up to me over the years and say, "Oh, is this jazz? I didn't know this was jazz." I said, "Yes, of course, jazz is very broad." And with my husband, we worked together for many years. He is who I started with, and he taught me so much about the business and about music itself, and we just love jazz, so it's part of who we are.
Before we go, you also have a show coming up at the Barclay Theater. Tell us real quick about that.
Yes, the Barclay. I'm so excited. For the first time, this is my premiere performance with a symphony orchestra and a full orchestra. I've never had that experience, as well as I haven't had too many experiences just with a huge audience.
Right.
So I'm so honored and I'm so happy to finally get to this point. I just finished a CD, Shall We Dance, and we're doing this is the official release, so we're doing all of
Okay.
the songs from that. And I was so honored to have a solo by the legendary Arturo Sandoval on
Oh, wow.
my CD too. So
Wow.
I've got some fabulous musicians.
Coming up in the world, kid.
Produced by my producers Bob Barrett and Tony Guerrero, very, very, very known in the business, and they've just been so super to me. So I'm very excited about the concert itself.
Yes. Should be great. We have the concert coming up on Sunday, March 24th here in the Village, and of course at Barclay a little later on.
April 7th.
Thank you
April
thank you so much for joining us, both of you guys.
Thank
Can we get some
you.
jazz hands as we go out?
Jazz hands.
There we go. All right.
Jazz hands.
That's how you do it.
I have to sing it too. I can't just.
Diane and Elena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
When we
having
come
us.
back, we're going to help you thrive right here in the Village.